Your radio is currently tuned in to Nova Southeastern University's Mako Radio, broadcasting on WKPX 88.5 FM Sunrise. Welcome to episode 3 of Inside the Tank, presented by Quarterdeck. I'm your host, Josh Raphael. This past week in Shark Athletics, our men's golf team won the Citrus Intercollegiate Invitational. The volleyball team ran to beat PBA in 5 sets, and both our men's and women's soccer team finished their regular season games as they gear up for the postseason. Now, let's kick things off tonight with our first guest assistant coach for the men's basketball team, Nick Smith, and men's basketball player, Mike Moore. How y'all boys doing?
Doing good.
Josh, thanks for having us.
Was the drive here good?
Yeah.
I mean, it's right down the street.
Quick drive.
So we're going to jump right into it. Obviously, Nick, this is your first year as the head assistant coach for Nova Southeastern. Kind of walk me through how it's been going so far.
It's been good. It's been a good adjustment, a quick adjustment, right? Jordan Fee, who obviously has done a great job as the head assistant for the past 7 or 8 years. Left for Gannon University. Kind of unexpected, but at the same time, he's very deserving. Great mentor for me. So I kind of feel like, learning from him, learning from Coach, I'm ready for the opportunity.
And Mike, you've been at NSU for quite some time, so you've seen a lot of different NSU basketball teams. Kind of talk to me a little about the evolution of Sharks basketball that you've seen since you've been here.
Well, now it's my 6th year here, so it feels like I've been here for quite some time. But ever since I've got here up until this point, I feel like the team and the organization just has grown a lot from within, and everyone dialing into the system that Coach has been trying to implement us, and even being alongside my coach now, but as a teammate before, learning from him since I was a freshman, and he's taught me a lot of great things that I'm still trying to keep in consideration now and implement into my game. And I feel like the team has grown a lot since I've been here, becoming more of a winning team, become more of a unit, and just dialing into what we have to do to get things done on the court. So
yeah, and you mentioned that you guys played together. So obviously your last year, you guys had a crazy run,
yep.
And I'm sorry to bring this up. Obviously, you guys lost in the Elite Eight. I know that hurt. But kind of what was it like, to come back, obviously, your next year, this time as a coach, and to be able to kind of win a national championship? I'll start with you. Kind of what was the emotions like?
Yeah, I think it goes further back. Coach came in here, and he took over a 6-win team, So when I came in as a freshman with Coach, it was kind of a huge change, right? Not a lot of fans at the games. They played a zone, so it was completely different. And we came in the first year won 17 games. People thought it was incredible that we won 17 games, but we had felt that, we had a next level. So if you know us, we play a million open gyms throughout the preseason. Winning the national championship,
huge.
You sit back and you realize those games to 140, being in the gym with your buddies all the time, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
All the hard work that we put in. I was on the other side of it. I would have liked to do it as a player, but just as good being on the staff. And like I said, the hard work finally paid off.
Yeah.
And Mike, obviously you did as a player, so kind of talk to me a little bit about like the emotions that you had. I know it was probably a little bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because of an injury, but kind of talk to me about the emotions you had.
For sure. I feel like that's every kid's dream, whether it's at D1, D2, whatever level you're at. Winning it all is just a great experience to have in general. And I'm grateful that our team was able to get it done, whether I was on the court or not. Just being a great teammate is the only thing I could have been in that moment. So accomplishing that was just a great feeling to have, regardless of being on the court or not.
And Nick, probably what could you say was, the biggest difference between last year's team and the team that you played on?
Well, I'd say the biggest difference was they finally got rid of that point guard that they had, so they got a little bit better. That guy kind of held them back a little bit, but no. The team last year was just different in a way where we were able to get leads, right? When you look at our player of the year, R.J. Sunohara, if you look, up until the conference tournament, he was playing 22 minutes per game. We had 10 guys average 10 minutes or more per game. Our year, we were short-staffed. Yeah. Dallas got hurt. We had 5 guys play 30 minutes, a couple other guys off the bench that played 15, 20 minutes. So staying healthy was the huge difference throughout the year. And
sure.
When you can go into Evansville, Indiana with your core guys and all your role players, it makes a huge difference, especially the way we play, high tempo, pressing everywhere. We were able to fully display who we are for the first time in Evansville.
And obviously, like you mentioned before, you've played for Crutch,
yep.
So being a coach now, what can you say like were the biggest takeaways from your playing career that are helping you as a coach right now?
And it works both ways because I can see it. I can see our guys throughout practice. I can tell coach, from experience, this is what I see. And just being able to be on the other side of it, right, where he's telling our guys one thing and I'm telling them the same. It's like I'm now realizing the mistakes I was making as a player.
Yeah.
It looks so simple, right, being on the outside of it, but it truly takes an unbelievable effort to play the way we do.
Yeah.
Consistently.
So consistently and all that good stuff. So, I would say that, being on the coaching side is different, but you kind of get a better understanding.
Yeah. And talk to me a little about the transition. I mean, like, kind of how was that? Was that a little difficult, or, was the grass green on the other side?
I wouldn't say it was a fast transition, but being a GA for a year and kind of separating myself from the guys, from being a player to a coach, having that 1 year under my belt was huge for me. And now I feel like with 10 new guys, I'm more comfortable, coaching these guys and being a point guard. Kind of you have to have that on the court. You have to be able to tell guys where to be and stuff like that. So I feel like it wasn't too tough of a transition.
Yeah, and Mike, I know we kind of touched on a little bit about, your injury last year. I mean, you got off to a hot start.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it was a game against Barry. You hit about like 7 or 8 threes. Like, you were going crazy, and obviously the Achilles tear happens.
Yeah.
So kind of talk to me about that journey, because, I mean, you're healthy and whole now and you're ready to play. So kind of talk to me about that journey a little bit.
I can say that journey was way tougher than I thought it was going to be, more so because I felt like in the past seasons I put in a lot of work. I had to really learn and understand my role on the team and ways I can impact the team in a better way. And when I finally was presented that opportunity and it got cut short, it hit a little harder than, that just an injury out of nowhere. So I would say that the 6-7 months, I just really had my surgery January 12th. And then from there on, as soon as I got into a boot, I was automatically in the gym working on ball handling, shooting form, in the weight room, just strengthening myself, trying to prepare to get back for the next year because I saw my guys out there having fun, being excited to be out there. And I had that feeling with them, but it made me more appreciate the game in a way of I need to put in extra work. I need to do more. All this time I'm going to have off right now, I need to focus on things that I can do better for next season and things like that, just to get us back to where we were and knowing our style of play and things like that, just getting my body right. So it was tough mentally, but I just stayed focused, just kept faith in God that I'll be okay, that I'll come back sooner or even better when my time is called. So just tried to stay ready as much as possible this summer.
Yeah. And Nick, I mean, we've talked about your coaching career, so far, your short coaching career so far, but I know you mentioned Crutch, you mentioned Fee. So kind of talk to me a little bit about how they've helped influence, your coaching change.
Well, I'll say this. When I came to school at Nova Southeastern, I kind of came in with the mindset of come here for 4 years, try to play as much basketball as I can, graduate with a finance major, and get into the business world. I kind of had that plan set. And then COVID-19 happened, and Coach Crutch kind of, told me, and my high school coaches, have even said it throughout 9th, 10th, 11th grade that they think I'd be a good coach one day. And I really didn't know. I thought I wanted to be a businessman, and COVID came around, and Coach talked about bringing me back for a 5th year. So I started thinking about it, and he asked me, what was my plan? And I told him that exactly. I told him, I want to be in the business world, and he kind of gave me, nah. He's like, nah, you're
that sounds like Coach.
Yeah, you're going to be a good coach one day, he told me. And ever since then, I started thinking about it, and just within the first couple of days of being around these guys again and having the whistle, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So those guys are a huge influence in my coaching career. Being able to coach under Coach Crutchfield, who is the all-time most winning coach in Division I, II, or III, is a blessing. It's as a 25-year-old, it's an opportunity that not many can get.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to trying to take advantage of it.
When you first started playing for Crutch, obviously our playing style is very unique.
Yes.
A lot of teams don't do that. Was it a little bit hard for you to kind of get into that playing style?
Yeah, like he says on everybody's recruiting trip, we're going to play a style that you've never played before, and it's going to be tough to do, and and everybody at high school wants to play fast, and that's what we did in high school was play fast. But this is truly a different level.
Yeah.
So an adjustment as an 18-year-old kid coming in against 23-year-olds playing this way.
Yeah.
The game is so fast, it's so different. So it was an adjustment, but at the same time, it's the most fun way to play,
Right.
in my opinion, and I wouldn't have left for any other place.
Yeah. And Mike, how was it for you? Coming over and playing for Crutch.
It was a bit of a change coming out of high school just because it's a lot of older guys, stronger guys. They're much faster. I probably played in the same type of play style, just not as 40 minutes long the entire time every single day, and even in practice doing it every single day. It is tough physically, but more so mentally. You have to be strong for it in order to get that extra effort, get to the extra spots and things like that. Just things that normal players wouldn't do outside of our system that we do. So I like it, though. I like playing this way. It can't get better.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And Nick, I mean, obviously we've talked about, again, you being in your first year as a head assistant coach. Is there something you're looking forward to the most this year?
I don't think there's something I'm really looking forward to in terms of me. I think there's something I'm looking forward to in terms of there's 10 new guys on the team, and we kind of lose our starting five, and it's an opportunity to see the system on display with new guys and some returning guys. So a short amount of time, right? With those old guys that won the national championship last year, we had 2-3 years to kind of figure the thing out.
Yeah.
This year we have 2 to 3 months. So that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing if right now we're not ready, but in a couple months to see if we can improve and be there by January, February.
Yeah, and you mentioned you guys have some newcomers. Kind of talk to us a little bit about them. Introduce us to the new faces for Sharks basketball.
Yeah, we got a plethora of new guys. We got 10 new guys. We got 4 freshmen, 2 redshirt freshmen, 5 transfers. So it's gonna be interesting. If people are gonna start showing up to the games, I see Nancy Olson over there. She's gonna be thinking, who the heck are these people? Who are these guys? So it's gonna be interesting. We got I'll talk about the transfers a little bit. We got Ike Fuller, who true Shark fans have seen play once already.
Yeah.
We played them against in the Elite Eight. He was on UMSL. So we were able and fortunate to get him. Riker Cesarik, who is a 2-time Evansville, Indiana attendee. He was at Black Hill State. His team had a lot of success and made 2 Elite Eights so far.
Yeah.
So we brought in some guys with some experience, and we added a few other guys that can help us as well. We brought in Pipo Grafals, who formerly played at Eckerd College, was an all-conference guy in the SSC. So it's gonna be fun to see what these guys can do.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously with a lot of new faces, there's a lot of change.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're gonna talk about the elephant in the room. I mean, you guys lost your entire starting lineup. So kind of talk to me a little bit about like the structure of the team, kind of like how's that transition from losing? I mean, the faces, between RJ, Will, Dallas, etc. Kind of talk to me about the transition now.
Well, the transition now, I think, it centers back on who we are and what we do. What we do is we play a different brand of basketball than every other team in America. West Liberty is the only team that really plays like us, that goes through the grind of the preseason and all that stuff. But that's where our focus lies. We understand it's a tough task, 10 new guys, but at the same time, if we can get them to play the basketball that we want, we feel like the system can outshine the guys that left.
Yeah. And Mike, I mean, we've talked about before, you've been at NSU for quite some time. Well, you've been in Davie for quite some time also. I mean, you went to U School. Kind of tell me about, like, what does the NSU community mean to you? I mean, being that you've been here, for some time.
It means a lot to me. I can say that I've truly basically have a whole new family. So it's a blessing to have, being that I've also went to U School since 2013, 2014, since my freshman year around there. So being here, I've only left for a few months to go to prep in Mount Verde Academy in Orlando and came back. So it feels good to be back in my own city and things like that, and having the support of my family close by, as well as teachers, friends, and just the community that I've met being in high school and then from my freshman year until now, supporting me all this way. So I'm just blessed to be in the position that I am, and I can't be more grateful for the NSU community that I have. So.
Yeah, and obviously with you reaching like the tail end of your NSU career, like kind of tell me, what do you want to accomplish? Like, what's left for Mike Moore to accomplish here?
Winning another national championship, I would say. Honestly, that was the biggest accomplishment we've had. So I would definitely like to run that back for sure this year.
Yeah. And I heard you have a clothing brand. You know, you have something
Yeah.
going on with that. So, I mean, kind of, how did you get into that? And I know it's kind of hard to, you know, balance a clothing brand and
Yeah.
also being an athlete. You know, kind of walk us through how that process is.
So back to like building the community actually with the NSU people. In high school, I had a class called resource class, and it helped me out building
Yeah.
like my time management skills. So it prepared me a lot for college. But then it weighed out a lot more to try to manage clothing and
Yeah.
basketball at the same time. But I just figured it out, took my time with it. Clothing has been something that I've always wanted to do since I was young. I've been into clothes, been into like re-rocking my own things, whether it's scissors cutting it up or
Yeah.
dyeing clothes and making it unique to my own type of style and things like that. So when I just God presented me the resources to start a brand, and I just went forth from there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And obviously, you know, Nick, obviously we're here to learn more about you. You know, we talked about coaching, your playing career. But, you know, let's go back a little bit more. You know, I'm curious, like, what made you decide to pick up a basketball?
I mean, I really wasn't given the choice. Yeah. My uncle came in the room and gave me a Knicks basketball. My dad had a Pittsburgh Steelers football.
Yeah.
So the only thing I ever knew growing up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, was sports.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have an NBA team in Pittsburgh, but
Yeah.
I only grew up around basketball, football.
Yeah.
I went to every Pitt Panthers basketball game that you could think of. So really, from a young age, I had a ball in my hand. Your paperback. No, but from a young age, I had a ball in my hand, and you know, I fell in love with it from day one.
And what brought you to NSU?
Coach Crutchfield. Yep. So I was initially going to go to West Liberty, where Coach was, and kind of was just was wanting to play in the system.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to play in the system. I wanted to play up tempo. And I was willing to go to West Virginia. Coach gets mad at me for saying it's in the middle of nowhere, but it is. You know, if you drive to West Virginia, West Liberty, you're driving in and out in mountains. There's no street lights. You know, it's
Yeah.
So then he gets announced the head coach job at Nova Southeastern, and I come down to Florida. If you're from Pittsburgh, you think that Pittsburgh is the best place in the world because you don't leave. But when I came down here, I was like, this place is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the facilities, the people, somewhere I couldn't say no to.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play for Coach. I wanted to play in the system. So that's how I got here.
Yeah. Was it a tough transition? I know you talk about, like, you know, when you're from Pittsburgh, you don't leave. So obviously you're leaving and you're in a whole different climate. I mean,
Yeah.
So how was that?
It was good. It was good. Coach is a heavy recruiter in the Ohio, Pennsylvania area, northern guy. So at the end of the day, people go to school, you know, maybe 5-hour drive away. Spirit Airlines has a 2-hour flight from Pittsburgh to Fort Lauderdale. So at the end of the day, I'm only 2 hours away. I really didn't feel like I was far away from home. Coach is a big family guy. Opportunities to go home, see the family, and for them to come see us. So it really wasn't that hard of a transition.
Yeah, and kind of to go to our final question. I know you kind of mentioned you're newcomers, you know, earlier, and we talked about the play style. So, you know, let's bring it all together. Like, kind of talk to me a little bit about, like, how, you know, the newcomers have been able to adapt to the Shark playing style. Because, I mean, you guys kind of told me how you adapted. So how has it been for them so far?
Yeah. I mean, this is the most coaching that I've seen us do, and you know, since we started this thing. You know, there's a couple times during early open gyms where we're scratching our heads, thinking, you know, what are these guys doing? But then we gotta, you know, bring ourselves back, and we don't return 12 guys. We return 6 guys, and really 3 guys that were major factors for us last year.
Yeah.
So we had to realize, you know, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. So there's still little nuances that these guys are learning every day with the press. You know, we're watching film, we're seeing mistakes. It's great to see the new guys kind of get a feeling, get an understanding of the press, and force turnovers. You know, it's always a struggle forcing ourselves over in practice because we do it every day.
Yeah.
But in these early scrimmages that we've had, being able to force some turnovers, these new guys are like, you know, this is awesome. You know, we love doing this. It's cool and it's fun. So we just got to keep building.
I mean, how excited are you for the season to start?
Very excited.
Super.
You know, we open up on November the 10th down in Barrie.
Mm-hmm.
We play the Gulf South crossover with the Sunshine State, so it'll be good. It'll be a good test to see where we truly are at. before we get into conference play.
Well, Nick and Mike, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you to Quarterdeck for allowing us to host our episode, and we will be back shortly with our next guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Welcome back to Quarterdeck, and I'm here with our final guest, head women's basketball coach LeAnn Freeland-Curry, and women's basketball player Nicole Scales. How you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
Good, good. I heard you guys were just volunteering at Kid Inc. How's that going?
We were. Nicole, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so it's been this thing that we've been doing weekly on Thursday nights as a team. We'll drive down there towards downtown, and we'll volunteer playing with the kids outside, kind of getting them involved in basketball. And then also we have the opportunity to work with them indoors, so anything academic-wise, but also just like the interactions are super important. So we've been like being super intentional about that and just getting to know them as people, and really, it's been really fun.
Yeah, and how did you guys kind of get into that?
Well, I knew about the organization, and then we looked into volunteer opportunities through their organization, and this was one of the opportunities. So we decided to commit to it. So we started in August, and we'll go through April. And fun fact, November 11th, we have 28 kids coming to our first game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
love
Kevin and
that.
Shantae are bringing the kids. And BSN Sports has been fantastic. They actually donated 100 T-shirts for every kid in the program.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
So, so it's
Yeah.
really exciting. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So let's hop into the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
So last year, I mean, you guys finished 21-9 NCAA tournament berth. You know, kind of talk to me a little bit about, like, kind of how do you plan on building from last year's finish?
Right. Well, I think that our returning players, we have
Yep.
8 returning. I think we're really excited about that run, and everybody improved. And then we also reloaded with 6 new players who came in and challenged everyone from the beginning.
Yep.
So we have our expectations really high this year.
Yeah. And obviously you mentioned newcomers. So talk to me a little bit about the newcomers. We have one of your newcomers here, Nicole Scales, and, kind of gives a little rundown on them and kind of what do you think they bring to the Shark family?
For sure. So Nicole, I'll start with her. She was a player who we played against last season, 3 years at Eckerd College, and tremendous player. We knew what she could bring. We were kind of selfish and excited that Eckerd didn't offer any master's programs, so we were able to get her to sign on, and she's working toward her MBA. Great player, great leader, and has shown she's a great fit in the system. And then we have Alana Ellis, a transfer. She's originally from Ohio, a D2 transfer, big producer at her college, and has come in and is strong, athletic, and still learning the system, but has a tremendous upside. We expect big things from her. Kaylin Terrell, a freshman out of Brownsburg, Indiana, has come in really strong as a freshman. She was challenging our strength coach over the summer, even saying, like, is this the program? Because I can do more. So she's brought a lot of toughness as a freshman, and is playing big minutes already with our scrimmages. We got 3 more. Help me out. Morgan Kane is going to be big for us this season. Tremendous player from Iowa State. Brings a low block presence and just a lot of experience at the highest level. So we're expecting big things from her.
Aubrey.
Thank you. Aubrey we got a lot of new players.
Yeah, a lot of newcomers coming in.
Yeah, so Aubrey is a player from PFW, very versatile, plays a lot of different positions, and has shown a real understanding of the system early as well.
Yeah.
And then lastly,
Jess.
Thank you. That's why she's here. Jess Moore, transfer from Colorado State, who just tenacious defender, very coachable, and again has shown a real knack for understanding the system this early after our 3 scrimmages.
Yep. And Nicole kind of talked to us a little bit about how your first year as a Shark has been going so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I feel like I've been able to come into the system and kind of just jump right in. Going into a new team, you never know how things are going to kind of fall into the fold, especially playing within conference, playing against a lot of these girls. But they've been super welcoming, all the players, obviously the coaches as well. And then I'm able to work towards my master's, which, I mean, COVID has blessed us with that extra year. And obviously I wanted to take it as a competitive college athlete. So I've been super fortunate to have that. And then basketball itself has just played itself out super nicely. And we're super excited for this upcoming season.
What would you say the biggest difference is between Eckerd and NSU?
I think ultimately, just like culture-wise, there's just like Eckerd is very like everything is very coastal. Like you're on the beach, everything's the beach. Versus like here, I feel like it's almost this new like professional element that like it really is like this is grad school, like this is legit, like we're here, and like so I think that's been, but it hasn't been a hard adjustment at all.
That was funny to see. Our whole team's here because we just came from Kidd downtown,
Yeah.
and all of our returners were like listening intently to see what her response was going to be. That was funny.
And Coach Freeland, obviously,
Yes.
I'm sure you have some goals, that you set out for your team. Kind of talk to us a little bit about like the short-term goals and kind of long-term goals that you have for the team this season.
Right. Well, it's funny you asked that because we just went through goals. We have. I'm kind of old school. I just want us to get better every day.
Yep.
I know it's very cliche, but it's very true. I think that's why we've always been very successful, is to live in the moment. Let's focus on us and get better. And we've got some individual like preseason goals, in-game goals. Like we're very goal-oriented, but just generically speaking, we want to get better.
Yeah.
And to have that growth mindset is super important.
Yep. And you mentioned the preseason, and the SSC preseason poll just came out. You guys are ranked second. Are you happy, sad, or you just want to hoop?
I mean, I'm neutral.
Yeah.
I think the preseason rankings are just for fun, puts a target on your back. I think it speaks a lot to not only our returners, but the new players we brought in. I think there's a lot of respect for the players that we brought in, along with our returners. But I think our staff did a great job identifying the right players to bring in. And, I was surprised a little bit with the number 2 because we didn't finish that high last year. We finished 4. And we got 4 first-place votes. So I think that speaks to the expectations that the players have, the other league coaches expect from the players we brought in.
Yeah,
and we're pretty excited about what we did with recruiting, too. I mean, we had a great recruiting class. And, again, newcomers were the returning players were very excited to mix in with these new players.
Yeah. And Nicole, obviously, Eckerd and Nova Southeastern have different playing styles. How have you been able to adapt to NSU's playing style so far?
Yeah, I think luckily, after playing against it for a few years, I kind of figured that I would fit pretty well into the system.
Yeah.
A lot of body movement, ball movement, a lot of setting screens, kind of reading the right things. And I think I was able to do that within my old system and now implementing that into this new system. And so it's been a pretty seamless transition. I haven't had any major issues, so it's been nice so far.
And head coach Freeland, like you were actually, I'm going to boost you up a little bit. You're a pretty good college basketball athlete in your past.
That's a few years ago, Josh. I don't think that's relevant anymore, but we'll go with it.
How do you feel like, that's, influenced your coaching style over the years, being a former athlete and obviously, being a coach? Like, do you think that helps you, like, relate to the athletes more?
Yeah, I mean, I think I love this team because I think I connect well with them. I think we have the same vision. I think that's super important, and that's one thing I had to learn as a younger coach.
Yeah.
No longer, I'm very seasoned at this point, but I'm a very competitive person.
Yep.
So I connect best with teams and players who are very competitive and want to be the best and never satisfied with where they're at. I was like that as a player. I always wanted to win every drill. I wanted to win every game. And I was devastated if we ever lost.
Yeah.
And, again, I connect best with teams who feel that too and have those super high expectations, who want to win a national championship, who want to be the best in the nation, who are excited about a number 1 national ranking. We haven't been there for a few years, who want to work towards something special. And, that's what I learned back in the day is you got to put the work in. You get a return on your investment. If you work hard every single day, maybe you don't win the national championship this year, but maybe next year, but I do feel like we have a team that can really challenge that. So we're really excited about where we're at right now.
Yeah.
So I just spun that. So we're just talking about
Nah, you're good. You're good.
the good old days.
But we are here to, learn more about you. And I mean, a lot of people probably don't know kind of what got you into coaching,
Great question. So I have 2 degrees in education. My goal my expectation was to be a teacher. And after I taught 1 year junior high, I loved it. I expected to go back. But then my head coach took a new job. She actually took the job at FAU from the University of Southern Indiana. And the assistant coach I played for became the head coach and asked me to come back at 23 to be his top assistant coach. And kind of similar to what's happened with Coach Peters and Coach Al, having the opportunity to go back to my alma mater. And I just want to kind of see how it felt. And I realized quickly that coaching is teaching.
Yeah.
You know, I love the flexibility. I love working with young women and helping them reach their full potential.
Yeah.
It's not 7th and 8th grade geography and U.S. history, but pretty excited about coaching basketball for over 20 years now.
Yeah, and what led you to NSU? You've coached at FGCU and, like you said, your alma mater. So
Right.
kind of what led you here to NSU?
Well, I love Florida, and so I had the opportunity from my alma mater to go to Florida Gulf Coast. Had a lot of success working under Coach Mesco, and had head coach offers and opportunities. So I went to University of Indianapolis for 4 years. Got awfully cold for 4 years. Anyone Midwesterners understand that. So when I had the call from NSU, they called me after my 4th year at UND and asked if I would have interest. I said, let's check it out. Came down and I thought it was a gold mine for Division II. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like the facilities, location, what NSU has to offer young student athletes, it's just amazing. And one of my favorite days is bringing new recruits to campus and offering them what we have to offer at NSU.
Yeah. And Nicole, kind of talk to us a little bit about your goals this year. You know, it's your last year. You know, I'm sure, you know, you have a lot to prove. You know, kind of talk to us a little bit about some goals that you have.
Yeah, so ultimately I think as a team we want to be at the top of the conference. That's kind of what we're going to strive for every day in practice. We're extremely competitive, as coaches touched on. We are going at each other day in, day out, and it's only benefiting us. We're getting better each and every day. And then beyond conference, playing in a few regional games, I mean, those are unmatched. Like the energy, I've played in two different regional games now. The energy, just everyone is there to compete. I mean, you're playing for your season at that point. Everyone is just putting everything on the line. So I think being back in that, getting into that regional championship game, and then progressing further into that, and then kind of letting the cards play where they are. Like at that point, when you're in past those games, like everything's there, and it's just whatever team's going to kind of do that much more to go and get it.
Yeah. And LeAnn, you've mentioned, you know, the success that your team has had, you know, in the past, Elite Eight appearances, etc. What do you think needs to happen for you guys to be able to get back there?
I think chemistry is everything. I mean, I think we have the talent. I think, you know, to make sure that we're building the chemistry, building the trust every day, you know, within players, but with the coaches and the players, and, you know, just staying hungry and staying motivated and continue to grow and build. Because, again, I've been very impressed with the talent level we have, but also the focus we have is a little more defined this year. So that's exciting, because I think that that's super important. And, you know, just to focus from drill to drill, and, you know, I throw out a play call and they can run it the next day too. And, you know, things like that matter. We have a high IQ, and, you know, just, again, having discipline, having focus, and staying together as a team.
Yeah. And Nicole, you know, we kind of touched on a little bit about why you left Eckerd, etc. How's the transition been? Has it been smooth? You know, obviously you have great teammates, great coaches. You know, have they helped you, you know, make that transition a lot smoother?
Yeah, definitely. And it could have gone another way had I not had great teammates that I was coming into that were welcoming as they were, along with the coaches that had the confidence in me to put me in a big role, in a big position, coming into this team with a lot of talent coming in, a lot of talent that stayed. So it was, and fortunately the school aspect has been great. I'm able to do a lot of my classes online, kind of have that flexibility, working ahead kind of at my schedule to make sure I can stay laser focused for basketball. It's been really important. So all that's kind of fallen in nicely for me. Yeah,
and finally, LeAnn, you know, kind of talk to us a little bit about, you know, what's the mentality for your team, you know, heading into this season? You know, I'm sure you guys have these conversations all the time. You know, what's, you know, the message or mentality like you want them to have going into this season?
I just think they want to compete. I know Nicole just spoke to that, but our 3 scrimmages, I've been really impressed at just our focus. You know, we had big leagues, we extended the leagues. You know, we played great competition, and we were ready to go from the tip. And, again, I think just the competitiveness has been really exciting, and that will carry over into real games. I mean, the scrimmages were great, but November 10th we open up, and – you know, I'm excited to see where we're at. Yeah.
Well, LeAnn, Nicole, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for Quarterdeck for allowing us to host our episode here. We'll be back on the first Thursday of next month. Inside the Tank signing out.